Sakhalwe, good afternoon to you and welcome. Are you able to throw any further light for us on the provenance then of these records that the Public Protector has?
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for having me. I did not get the question. I'm sorry.
The question to you again is, are you able to throw any more light, give us any further detail on the origin, on the provenance of this banking information relating to the campaign donations?
Well, first and foremost, let me state that the Public Protector takes serious exception to insinuations that he obtained information illegally. People will know that the Public Protector has got wide-ranging powers, including the power to subpoena information. So the banking records from the FNB were subpoenaed, and we make reference to that in the report itself if people care to read through the report. And further, in another section of the report which deals with sources of information, there will be reference to our interactions with the Financial Intelligence Center, which we obtained all of the records relating to banking statements and so forth from, including those that we had already obtained from FNB via a subpoena.
Now, what exactly can you tell us about what is contained then, Mr. Sakhalwe, in those records that you've subpoenaed?
Well, banking records would normally contain information about transactions that have taken place, such as the amount of money deposited into which account by who, and then the amount of money transferred from which account to which account. And that is essentially what the Public Protector was looking for in those records. And that was the basis of some of her findings.
She was looking for that information with what intention then? What's the strategy?
She was investigating. Remember, she was approached by Mr. Maimane of the Democratic Alliance to investigate three issues. The first issue was whether or not the President misled Parliament when he was answering questions about her interactions with Bosasa or something along those lines. And then the second part was to investigate the relationship between the President and his family and Bosasa, or what is now known as African Global Operations. And then lastly, the third part of the investigation in terms of the complaint from Mr. Maimane was to establish whether or not, the way the donation to the President from Bosasa was conducted, whether that amounted to some sort of money laundering. That was, again, contained in the complaint from Mr. Maimane.
Fair enough. And given then, Mr. Sakhalwe, that you now have that subpoenaed information, how strong a case do you believe that you have?
The Public Protector stands by her findings. She believes that she has a very watertight case. Every little finding that you find in that particular report can be backed up by evidence. And that is the evidence that is part of the record or the body of the information that she has now to hand over to the court in terms of Rule 53 of the Uniform Rules of the Court.
And it's your view, I assume, that this information should be made public sooner rather than later?
Well, our role as the Public Protector in terms of this case, the litigation, is to hand over that information to the court. And then it is up to the court as to whether it becomes public or not. Remember that once you file a record such as this one with the registrar of the court, it becomes public information. That is why journalists have to report on it, because it becomes accessible to them. But in this case, there's a snag in the sense that the President's attorneys have written to the Judge President or the Deputy Judge President requesting that some of this information should be hidden from the public. So it's up to the court to make that call. Ours is to just comply with the court rules, which is Rule 53 in this case.
Right. Mr. Sakhalwe, just finally and very quickly then, the Public Protector also saying that she takes offence, she takes umbrage at reports that she obtained these details unlawfully. Does she plan any follow-up action as far as that's concerned?
Well, she has not taken any decision in terms of action. What she has said is that she takes exception to those insinuations which are not based in fact, and no evidence is being provided by those that are making those allegations. And this would be the attorneys representing the president, and even media statements that have been issued by the presidency. They have been peddling this information without providing a shred of evidence. This is clearly meant to besmirch her in the eyes of the public and paint her as a person who has got a vendetta, when she's merely doing her job in terms of the Constitution and the law.
And surely, Mr. Sekhalwe, if she feels so aggrieved, she should be following through and taking action to clear her name.
Yes, but I'm saying she has not taken that decision yet. That's not a decision you take during media interviews. You must consider it and take advice and then decide going forward.
Thank you very much indeed. Oupa Sekhalwe speaks for the Public Protector. I want to take